In America, we have many women who have come forward recently and said, I was raped.
Muri Amerika muri iki gihe haje abagore baravuga ngo bafashwe ku ngufu.
I went up to this man's room.
Batangira kuvuga ati nagiye mu cyumba cy'uyu mugabo runaka.
We had been having a few drinks.
Twari turimo turasangira ko kunywa.
And I went to his room.
Nuko njya mu cyumba cye.
And we were having a few more drinks.
Twari turimo kongera kunywa utundi ibindi byo kunywa.
And we were getting close to each other and having some fun.
Kandi twari tunezererwanye turi muri icyo cyumba twegeranye.
And then we got into the bed.
Nuko twinjira mu buriri.
And we got our clothes off.
Nuko turiyambura.
And I said, oh, no!
Nuko ngeze ndangije kwiyambura mpita mubwira, woya!
Please don't!
Woya wibikora.
I said, stop!
Ndamubwira rekera.
A little late.
Uwo ngo ntaba yakerewe koko.
A little late.
Uwaba yakerewe.
Come on, guys.
Sibyo?
The man is ready.
Umugabo ariteguye we.
The man is up.
Umugabo yazamutse.
And the woman goes, no.
Umugore akavuga oya.
Women.
Abagore.
Please.
Turabasabye.
Help us out.
Mudufashe.
I know that you're supposed to be the weaker sex.
Nzi yuko ari mwebwe mufatwa nk'abanyantege nke.
But when it comes to sex, men are the weaker sex.
Ariko iyo bijyanye n'imibonano mpuzabitsina abagabo bahita bahinduka abanyantege nke kuri mwe.
Men will get to the place where it's just all about the physical.
Abagabo bagera ahantu aho bitaye gusa ku gikorwa gusa cyonyine.
You're in that situation and all of a sudden the emotion comes out and says, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
Mugera kubera ariko mwebwe mufite imbaraga zigera ahantu mukavuga ati ahari wenda singomba kuba nkora ibi.
But it's too late.
Ariko biba byarangiye biba byatinze.
The man is ready.
Umugabo aba yiteguye.
You know, in marriage,
urabona mu rushako
in America,
muri Amerika
now,
ubu ngubu tuvuga,
we have situations where a man and a woman who are married and the woman claims rape.
Dufite n'abantu bashakanye ariko umugore akivamo akavuga ati yafashwe ku ngufu n'umugabo we bashakanye.
And when she claims rape because she didn't want to and her husband forced her.
Kandi avuga ko yafashwe ku ngufu kubera ko atabishakaga umugabo akamuhata.
There are two sides of this.
Hari impande ebyiri z'ibi rero.
Okay, one is that the man needs to honor his wife.
Icyambere nuko umugabo aba agomba kubaha umugore we.
But the wife, on the other hand, has to honor her husband and submit.
Ariko nanone umugore ku rundi ruhande aba agomba kubaha umugabo we akazibukira.
Paul talks about this.
Pawuli babivugaho.
If I can find it.
Reka ngerageze mbishake.
Paul talks about it and he says, husbands and wives, that you should come together. You should not forsake coming together.
Pawulo aravuga ati bagabo n'abagore ntimukarekeraho guhura.
And you should not forsake coming together because the enemy, Satan, will use it against you.
Ntimukarekeraho guhura kubera yuko Satani azagikoresha nk'urwaho.
And basically when you're married,
kandi mbere na mbere iyo umaze gushaka,
you are not your own.
Ntago ubukiri uwawe ku giti cyawe.
I know women, you're sitting there going, come on, what are you talking about, Martin?
Abagore barahunga ngira nibaza ko abagore bicaye barimo kwibaza ati ariko se uyarimo kuvuga ibiki.
1 Corinthians 7:3 through 5. Can you read that?
Abakorino ba mbere ibice 7.
1 Corinthians 7:3 through 5.
Abakorino ba mbere ibice 7 umurongo wa 3 kugeza wa 5 aravuga ngo umugabo ahe umugore we ibimukwiriye kandi n'umugore nawe abigenza atyo ku mugabo we kuko umugore adatwara umubiri we ahubwo utwarwa n'umugabo we kandi umugabo nawe adatwara umubiri we ahubwo utwarwa n'umugabo we ntimukimane keretse ahari musezeranye igihe, kugira ngo mubone uburyo bwo gusenga kandi mwongere guhura, satani atabagerageresha iruba ry'umubiri wanyu.
All five?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's basically saying that the wife's body is not her own.
Pawulo barimo kuvuga yuko umubiri w'abagore ntago ari uwabo.
The husband's body is not his own.
Ndetse n'umubiri w'umugabo aba atakiri uwe.
A very important part of this equation here.
Ibi rero hari ibintu by'ingenzi tugomba kumvamo.
I am going to confess something.
Hari ikintu ngiye kubaturira.
Early on in my marriage,
tukiri mu rushako, tukiri bato mu rushako,
I was not faithful to my wife.
Ntabwo naciye inyuma umugore wanjye. Murimo kwibaza ati ngwiki waciye inyuma umugore wawe?
Martin, how could you?
Marte, ibi wabikora gute wa munyabyaha we?
I'm sorry.
Mumbabarire, basabye imbabazi.
So I had gone out and I had sinned with this body.
Narasohotse ncumura n'uyu mubiri.
And I'd had a good time.
Kandi nagize ibihe byiza.
And I said, hey, I got away with it.
Nibwira ko batazamfata.
Lightning didn't come and strike me down.
Kubera yuko nta nkuba yigeze nkubita.
Everything must be okay.
Byose bishobora kuba ari byiza rero.
So, several years go by.
Imyaka igenda yicuma.
And we received the baptism in the Holy Spirit.
Twakira umubatizo w'umwuka wera.
You mean you had sex with another woman and you got baptized in the Holy Spirit?
Hanyuma ukibaza ati mbese wasambanye n'undi mugore urangije ubatizwa umubatizo w'umwuka wera?
Yes.
Yego.
And I received the baptism, my wife received the baptism.
Nakiriwe umubatizo w'umwuka wera, umufasha wanjye yakiriwe umubatizo.
I started speaking in tongues. Hallelujah.
Ntangira kuvuga mu ndimi gutyo.
Oh, shirarabasandanamasite.
Rotezide shindarababadad.
And I was just speaking in tongues. I was having such a wonderful time in the Lord.
Nari ndimo kugira ibihe byiza mvuga mu ndimi mu Mana.
My wife.
Umugore wanjye, umufasha wanjye.
Nothing.
Nta kintu na kimwe.
Not even a single word.
Nta n'ururimi na rumwe rwigeze rugera ku rurimi rwe.
For about 3 or 4 weeks we went on.
Nyuma y'ibyumweru bitatu cyangwa bine turakomeza.
And my wife said, I don't believe this.
Umufasha wanjye aravuga ngo ibi simbyizeramo.
I don't think this is real.
Ibi ntago ari byo.
And she says, I quit.
Mbivuyemo njyewe.
I said, what?
Ndamubwira ngo iki?
Come on, this is great. This is wonderful. God is just moving.
Ndamubwira ibi ni byiza. Uwiteka Imana arimo kutugenderera, umwuka we arimo kutugenderera.
And we got on the floor and we started praying.
Tutapfukama dutangira gusenga.
And God spoke to me.
Imana ivugana nanjye.
Spoke to my spirit.
Ivugana n'umwuka wanjye.
He says the reason that she is not getting it.
Arambwira ati impamvu umugore wawe atarimo kwakira indi mishya z'umwuka
is because she doesn't know that you've sinned with her body.
Nuko atazi ko wacumuye n'umubiri we.
I said, but I confessed it. I said, I'm sorry, and I was forgiven. He says, yeah, you were.
Ndavuga ngo none se ko nasabye imbabazi nkatura nkavuga ngo hanyuma nkababarirwa. Imana iravuga ngo koko warababariwe.
She didn't know.
Ariko umugore wawe ntiyamenye ko wabikoze.
She didn't know what you did with her body.
Umugore wawe ntiyamenye ko wasambanye ukoresheje umubiri we.
She hasn't been able to ask for forgiveness.
Ntago arasaba imbabazi umugore wawe.
And not only that, she hasn't been able to forgive you.
Kandi si ibyo byonyine ntabwo arakubabarira.
I said, God, if I tell her this is going to destroy us.
Ngira Imana ati Imana nimubwira ibi ngibi urugo rwanjye rurahita rusenywa.
And God said, well, do you trust me?
Imana irambaza mbese uranyizeye?
Do you trust me?
Mbese uranyizeye?
And so I confessed it to her.
nuko naturira umugore wanjye.
I confessed that I had had a single affair one day, one night.
Ndamwaturira ndamubwira ati nasambanye ijoro rimwe gusa. Rimwe.
I was so ashamed.
Babwire nari mfite isoni.
But when my wife heard it,
ariko umugore wanjye akibyumva,
she asked for forgiveness.
Yasabye imbabazi.
And she said, was it something that I did?
Umugore wanjye arambaza ati se byavuye kuri njyewe, impamvu watumye usambana byaturutse kuri nje?
Was I not good enough?
Mbese ntago nari nkuhagije?
Didn't I take care of you?
Mbese sinakurebereye?
It broke my heart.
Ibyo bintu byamenye umutima.
It broke my heart.
Byarambabaje.
It wasn't her fault.
Kuko nta gikosa ryari kuri we.
She was everything that she needed to be.
We yari yuzuye mu byo yagombaga gukora byose kandi yuzuzaga inshingano ze.
It was me.
Ikibazo cyari jye.
I was the one that was drawn away by my sin and lust.
Ni njyewe wavuye kuri we cyangwa wigijwe kure nawe kubera irari ryanjye.
So see, that is the example that not only are we physically one body and one spirit, but now your body is not your own and her body is not her own.
Uru rero ni rwo rugero rugaragaza yuko tuba turi umwe mu mwuka ndetse no mu mubiri, kubera ko abagore umubiri wanyu nagaba akiri uwanyu aba ari w'abagabo wanyu, ndetse n'abagabo ni gutyo umubiri wanyu abatakiri uwanyu ari w'abagore banyu.
It says that the marriage bed must be a place of mutually the husband seeking to satisfy his wife and the wife seeking to satisfy her husband. This is verse 3.
Haravuga muri gatatu yuko umugabo aho umugore we ibimukwiriye kandi n'umugore we abigenze atyo ku mugabo we.
Marriage is not the place to say about my rights.
Urushako ntago ariho utangira guhirimbanira uburenganzira bwawe.
It's not a place for you to say about your rights.
Ntabwo ari ahantu utangira guhirimbanira uburenganzira bwawe.
But it's a place where we come together to honor one another.
Ahubwo urushako ni ahantu tuza kugira ngo twubahane.
Men have physical needs.
Abagabo baba bafite ibyo bakeneye by'umubiri.
We need sexual release.
Tuba dukeneye kugira ngo duhure n'abagore bacu kugira ngo twumve tuguwe neza.
Yeah, even old guys like me.
N'abasaza nkanjye.
Old people like me.
N'abasaza nkanjye baba bikeneye.
We still need it.
Tuba tugikeneye.
Maybe not as often.
Wenda si buri kanya.
But we need it.
Ariko tuba tugikeneye.
The woman
n'abagore rero
probably does not need it as much.
Abagore bo wenda ntabwo ari cyane.
Some women are more sexual than others.
Abagore bamwe bakunda guhura cyangwa bakunda mu mibonano mpuzabitsina kurusha abandi, birashoboka.
But for some women it's just okay.
Ariko ku bagore bamwe nta kibazo biba bibabwiye, babifite batabifite ntacyo.
And here's where the trouble starts.
Aha rero ni ikibazo cyiza.
The woman says, I don't feel like it.
Umugore yatangiye kuvuga ngo ndumva nameze neza uyu munsi, abwira umugabo we.
They say, well, I'm not doing it today. I have a headache.
Wenda umugore akavuga ati umutwe uranyishe, ndumva ndwaye, ndumva nameze neza uyu munsi.
Or you say, I just don't feel good.
Cyangwa ukavuga ndumva nameze neza.
And you withhold.
Ukamwiyaka umugabo wawe, ukamwima.
And when you withhold,
kandi iyo umwimye,
the husband is not satisfied.
Umugabo ntabona umunezero yarategereje kubona.
So the wife is now put into the position of control.
Nukuvuga ngo umugore rero icyo gihe niwe uba ufite ubushobozi n'ububasha icyo gihe.
What she says goes.
Icyo ari buvuge kiri bukorwe.
She controls when they go to bed together.
Niwe ufite ububasha bwo gukontrola igihe bari buhurire mu cyumba.
A woman who controls the man through the sex by controlling the marriage bed is an idolater and a witchcraft.
Umugore rero ukontrola cyangwa ugira ububasha hejuru y'umugabo we kubijyanye no guhura ko mu cyumba abahindutse umurozi.
That's a hard word.
Iryo ni ijambo rikomeye.
Because you've now put yourself in the position to control the marriage bed.
kubera ko wishyira mu mwanya wo kugira ububasha bwo gukontorora umuhuro wanyu wo mu cyumba.
It is a form of idolatry.
wiha ububasha ni ukuvuga ngo ububaye ikigirwamana bushaka kwigiza uba wigize ikigirwamana.
And when you do that, you might end up with a husband that goes astray.
iyo ubikoze rero bishobora kurangira umugabo wawe avuye mu ataye inzira agati icyerekezo.
Okay, back to this topic here that we're talking about.
reka dusubire kuri insanganyamatsiko.
Oh, what kind of love is God love?
mbese ni uruhe rukundo imana ikunda ishaka?
Okay, God love is agape.
urukundo rw'imana ni